From the most recent suspected Bigfoot sighting to the murderous beast of France, here are 10 of the weirdest and most mysterious creature sightings. Number 10. The newest Bigfoot sighting. In 2020, when 4 friends were driving home on Christmas night, they caught a glimpse of what may have been the legendary Bigfoot. This is the most recent and one of the most promising Bigfoot sightings. As reported by Global News, the passenger in the front seat spotted what appeared to be a giant humanoid creature on the side of the road. However, not everyone in the vehicle saw it. Before everyone could get a good look, the creature had already turned and ran back off into the forest. But the 4 friends weren't done with Bigfoot just yet. After returning home and putting the kids to bed, they went back to where they had originally seen the Bigfoot to look for any more clues he might have left. What they discovered were tracks that looked an awful lot like human footprints squished into the dirt. They definitely weren't bear prints, they clearly weren't moose prints, but they most definitely could have been Bigfoot prints. This sighting proved so intriguing that members of the Okanagan Bigfoot group actually went to the area to check out the tracks for themselves. Unfortunately for everyone who wants to find Bigfoot, even the Bigfoot enthusiasts weren't convinced by the tracks and said that the people in the car probably just saw a big moose. Number 9. The U-28 Reptile Attack. The U-28 creature has been described as a giant reptile very similar to a crocodile, only much bigger. The creature was spotted in the middle of the North Atlantic Ocean during World War I. It was seen by a German submarine, with eyewitnesses claiming the creature was about 60 feet in length, equipped with webbed feet and a long tail, and definitely reptilian. What's really amazing about this strange animal sighting is that the huge ocean crocodile was only witnessed this one time, and only by the crew of the German U-28 submarine. It happened on July 30th, 1915. After the submarine sank a British steamer called the Iberian, the crew of the U-28 saw the beast exploding out of the ocean, along with scraps of debris from the destroyed British vessel. At least 6 officers saw the monster, but only for a few seconds before it disappeared back into the ocean. To this day, nobody is sure what the strange creature was, but the captain of U-28 had no reason to lie about seeing a giant beast in the ocean. Some people claim the U-28 creature was in fact a type of extinct prehistoric crocodile known as the Sarcosuchus imperator. Or perhaps it was the mysterious Kraken. Unfortunately, we'll probably never know for sure. Number 8. Canada's mysterious lake monster. There is a mysterious lake monster supposedly living in Canada that has humps, green or maybe black skin, the head of a horse, and the overall appearance of some kind of mythical sea dragon. This creature is known as the Ogopogo, and it's believed to live inside the Okanagan Lake in British Columbia. There have been numerous sightings of this mysterious creature, and in the 1980s there was even a reward offered for $1 million to anyone who could prove that the creature existed. Sadly, no one managed to win that large amount of money, and today it's been estimated that only 16% of people in the province even believe it's real. But that hasn't stopped sightings from happening all the way to the present day. One of the most recent sightings came in 2019 when a man from Okanagan captured a video of what he believed to be the monster. In the video, there appeared to be some kind of sea creature with a flipper slithering through the water. Unfortunately, the monster was way too vague in the video to properly confirm, even though it looked to be about 120 feet long. Do you believe there is some kind of strange sea dragon residing in the Canadian lake? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Number 7. Mystery Prowler in Christian County. Stephanie Wigger from rural Christian County witnessed a large black animal crossing the road, and nobody knows what it is. But believe it or not, Stephanie was not the only person in the county who witnessed a large black beast. It was seen at least a dozen times in a single month, sometimes in people's houses. The creature appeared to be some kind of huge black cat, almost like a panther. The local neighbours were terrified because nobody could figure out what kind of animal it was or how it ended up near people's homes. Nobody came face to face with the beast, nobody got any proper video footage of it, but there were so many similar reports that something must have been skulking through the neighbourhood. To this day, nobody has figured out what kind of animal was stalking Christian County. There were no deaths, there were no attacks, and according to eyewitness reports, it definitely wasn't a coyote or a wolf. It could be that someone's pet panther had gotten loose and then stayed in the area for a few weeks before moving on and is now living somewhere in the nearby wilderness. Then again, how many people actually have a pet panther? Number 6. crypto creature sea monster. A horrifying monster from the deep was recently captured on video by deep sea surveyors working off the coast of southern Australia. At first glance, this thing really does look like a monster, or like something that you would find floating around in a primitive galaxy. But in fact, the sea creature is a type of squid known as a big fin squid. The animal is so rare that to this day, not a single adult specimen has ever been captured, not even by a fisherman or a deep sea trawler. The only evidence of their existence is a handful of sightings by scientists studying the deep ocean. The big fin squid is so mysterious that scientists aren't even sure where they live. It took 3 years of hunting just to catch one on high definition video. The big fin squid has extremely long tentacles, much longer than its own body. They live at least 2 miles beneath the surface of the ocean, and right now, catching a specimen and bringing it back to the surface seems like an impossible task. But considering these huge, alien-like squids were only spotted for the first time now, it really proves that there still can be giant, terrifying sea monsters living underwater that we don't even know about. Number 5. Dolphins vs US Submarine. In a rather strange animal incident, dolphins were recently witnessed racing a Navy submarine. And guess what? The submarine lost! The John Warner Virginia-class attack vessel was in the middle of completing its sea trials when a pod of dolphins came up beside it and challenged the submarine to a race. This submarine is powered using nuclear energy and could hardly keep up with the dolphins, who began leaping in and out of the water beside it, swimming at around 20 miles per hour. Nobody really knows what the dolphins were trying to prove, but it looks like they were having a pretty good time. This is one of the only instances that was ever caught on video in which dolphins seems to be playing with a submarine. Number 4. The Beast of France. The Beast of Gévaudan appeared in a rural part of France in 1765 and allegedly killed about 100 people. To this day, nobody knows what the beast was, but what we do know is that it killed men, women, and children indiscriminately. At the time, the French had assumed the giant beast was some kind of monster wolf. However, it may not have been a wolf at all, and instead some kind of unidentified cryptid that has never been seen again. The first fatal attack was on June the 30th, when a 14-year-old girl was attending to a flock of sheep. Well, the girl was gobbled up. The same thing happened over and over again, with attacks spilling from summer to autumn and all the way into winter. According to the local reports from the time, the beast only partially ate its victims, suggesting it may have been killing for fun. Also, since there were so many attacks, people have claimed that there could have been more than one beast. Considering this is 1700s France, a bounty was offered for the death of the animal. A royal hunter eventually showed up in the region to take the monster on. He failed. Then, in 1765, a huge wolf was shot by the French king's gunbearer. This large wolf was presumed to be the beast. But this was a failure too, because shortly after the attacks started again. Then, in June of 1767, a nobleman hunted down and shot another wolf. According to History.com, this wolf was discovered to have human remains inside of its stomach. Even though the attacks stopped shortly after this, many people still believe to this day that the true beast of France was not a wolf at all, but some kind of monster birthed from the depths of hell. Number 3. The Amabiye. The Japanese Amabiye is a type of yokai, or a spirit out of Japanese folklore. But unlike many of the strange mythological creatures from Japanese legends, the Amabiye has actually been witnessed. Or at least, allegedly witnessed. And in 2020, the Amabiye made a huge resurgence in Japanese culture. But let's start in 1846, when the first documented sighting occurred. A government official had apparently been investigating a green light seen in the water when he discovered a glowing creature with green skin, fish scales, long and greasy hair, and 3 legs. This is the exact description of the Amabiye, a terrifying abomination. But here's where Japanese creatures get a little weird. Rather than attacking the man, the Amabiye instead warned that a pandemic would soon ravage the country. The Amabiye also said that to stay safe from the pandemic that would eventually come, people should draw an image of the creature and share it with all their friends. This obviously seems completely insane, but the legend really does go back to the 1840s. This is obviously way before social media. In fact, the Amabiye remained dormant for 174 years until the coronavirus pandemic began to sweep across Japan. Since then, people have been sharing images of the Amabiye with as many people as possible in a silly attempt to keep COVID-19 at bay. Number 2. Loch Ness Monster. 2020 wasn't a good year for most people, but it was a good year for the Loch Ness Monster. A Nessie enthusiast claimed to have spotted the very real Loch Ness Monster on June the 3rd while watching Urquhart Bay on a webcam. The witness's name is Kaylin Wangle, and her sighting lasted for around 10 minutes. She recorded everything she saw, though to be honest it wasn't much more than an obscure black mark moving across the water, occasionally dipping under the waves and acting generally suspicious. The object appears to surface for at least 7 minutes, moving closer to the shore, then vanishing and not coming back to the surface at all. This was the 5th Nessie sighting of the year, and one of the most convincing. But unfortunately for everyone, the black blur could just have been a log or something else. There's no way of knowing if it truly was the Loch Ness Monster or not. Number 1. The Clearwater Monster. Over 70 years ago, the tracks of a mysterious beast appeared at Clearwater Beach and terrified the world. This happened in 1948 when a monster allegedly walked out of the Gulf of Mexico, wandered around the beach in the dark, then went back into the water and took off. The Clearwater Monster, as it became known, didn't hurt anyone, and no one actually saw it with their eyes, but it did leave a lot of tracks behind. The tracks looked like dinosaur marks, over a foot in length and almost a foot wide. For something that came out of the ocean, the tracks didn't really make much sense. They looked like the leftovers of giant birds. People were very confused, especially those who lived in the small town of Clearwater. It wasn't until quite a bit later when people found out that a guy named Al had made the footprints himself as a joke on the fire chief, who had played a previous prank on Al, calling him one day and telling him that his shop was on fire when it actually wasn't. Instead of a monster crawling out of the ocean and checking out the small town of Clearwater, it was just a guy named Al who made some fake dinosaur feet and strapped them to his shoes, all just to get revenge on the fire chief. Thanks for watching. Which of these sightings do you think is the most believable? Let me know in the comments, and be sure to hit the subscribe button if you liked the video. See you next time.